and welcome to CVG's YouTube channel. This is Dave Boddington from Future Games, and I'm joined by Andy Kelly.
Hello.
Hello, Andy. And we're going to be talking about something pretty incredible today because Andy has been to see Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag.
Yes, it is a proper numbered Assassin's Creed
sequel.
A
real one, not like
so
Brotherhood.
Yeah, it's not a spin-off. Yeah, so, although it does have a subtitle, so yeah.
But
it's the best of both worlds. Yeah.
Okay, well, so we're going to be talking, you're going to give us a bit of an overview of like what the game is, you know, the world, the period it's set in, the characters, the gameplay, and crucially, you know, even the modern day stuff. So, well, could you kick off by telling us a little bit about what is Black Flag?
Well, Black Flag is set in a new time period, but it's the closest time period that a sequel has gone, so it's not strayed too far. So it's set in the early 1700s, whereas Assassin's Creed 3 was set in the late 1700s. So it's something like 1715. It's set in the Caribbean, or the West Indies, and you play as Edward Kenway. Now, if you played Assassin's 3, you'll recognise the surname Kenway.
Yep.
This guy is Haytham Kenway's father, and thus Connor's grandfather. So there's a the gulf between Ezio and Connor was a massive period of time, and the gap between between 3 and this is a lot closer. So it's still part of the same family tree, like really closely linked. Yeah.
So as Haytham's father, then are you playing as a Templar?
Well, that's the thing. Haytham started out as an assassin, and he was trained by the assassins. Edward Kenway was the first Kenway to be trained by them, and he is fully an assassin in this one. Okay. There might be a plot twist where he might defect to the Templars, and that will explain Haytham's, doing the same thing. But as far as I know, from what I was told, he is an assassin.
Okay.
So he's got the hidden blade, he's got the robes, but he's been, from what I gathered from the presentation, I think. Whereas in most Assassin's Creed games, you see them becoming the assassin and being trained, or it will show a period of training time passing in a cutscene or whatever. It seems that you're a pretty established, skilled assassin in this game. But I don't know. They may be keeping like a secret, prologue that shows him becoming.
And it sounds like from sort of, the leaked box art from last week. Correct if I'm wrong, but it looks like we're going to have a very different setting for all this to take place, and this is going to be, is this going to be all life aboard ship? How's this going to work?
Yeah, well, what's interesting is that they're saying it's the most varied Creed game yet. So you will have lots of it set on ships. There will also be cities. Kingston and Havana are two that they've name-checked so far. There will be caves and coves. Nice. And jungles, which is interesting. There will be underwater sections. There will be ancient Mayan ruins and stuff like that. So it's really like, if you think about Far Cry 3, which I'll be name-checking a lot because there's a lot of similarities there. It's that kind of mix of idyllic postcard tropical vistas, sort of murky caves and ruins and cities, 18th century cities, which weren't as built up as, for example, Florence in Assassin's 2. So that'll be interesting to see how they handle that.
That's exciting, because one of the things I've found through playing previous Assassin's titles is I've always really, really enjoyed them for the most part, but after a while, after 20 odd hours within these cities, it can feel a bit stale, and you want to get out to different places. So I suppose.
Yeah, and they've tried before with the frontier and the Italian countryside linking the cities, but the difference here is those hubs were separate levels.
Yeah, you always have a little loading buses.
So if you left Florence, you'd appear in the Italian countryside, and you could then travel to Forlì or whatever. In AC3, you could go to get to New York. If you weren't fast traveling, you had to go through the frontier, which is a separate level essentially. What they're saying about this one, which is really exciting, and again draws back to Far Cry, is that it's all seamless. So from what I gather, and I did ask them this specifically, and they said yes, you can do it. So you could sail in real time theoretically. Well, as in game real time. It won't take like 30 days or whatever, like
hey,
it
I
did
wish
in real
it
life.
did. That'd be amazing. That'd be my
Extreme
ideal
simulation
game.
mode. But yeah, so you could sail from like Cuba to Jamaica in real time, and they say that the transition between you running about on land, doing Assassin's Creed type stuff, getting on your ship, doing naval battles, diving off the ship to go and harpoon a whale, and then docking at another city is all seamless. There's no links there, and even boarding enemy ships as well is going to be, it happens in real time. So that is really, I felt increasingly Assassin's Creed had felt a bit bitty, sort of like component parts riveted together. But this idea of being able to just go, right, well, I'm standing in Kingston, it's a bustling city, I'm going to walk to the harbour, I'm going to get on my ship, I'm going to sail to somewhere else, and on the way I'm going to fight some people and do some diving for sunken treasure, all without any immersion breaking loading breaks. It's pretty amazing.
It sounds sort of reminiscent of, I suppose, a bit of Red Dead Redemption and sort of the way,
it really did remind me of the Far Cry similarities are there, and it did remind me of Red Dead, and not only in the sense of this open world and seamlessness, but also their vision of 18th century piracy isn't Pirates of the Caribbean. It's not
right. Okay, because I'm sure that's what people be a bit worried about.
And they made a point of telling us like it's not. It's not there. So there's not like Jack Sparrow sashaying around with and parrots on shoulders and that kind of thing. So they're trying to avoid pirate cliches, and in much the same way as the Wild West in Red Dead Redemption wasn't Leone. It wasn't spaghetti western. It was more. It still had some of the tropes of the Wild West, but it was more grounded in reality. The idea of the setting in this one is that they're taking pirates as written by history and not by Hollywood.
Sounds more Master and Commander than Monkey Island.
Monkey Island's the extreme opposite of what they're trying to do here. There are still some sort of links to pirate cliches, but because that stuff was real, not all pirate cliches were invented by cinema. Some of it was based on real events.
Absolutely. No, it sounds really exciting. I distinctly remember actually at E3. Was it 2 years ago when they announced or showed the first onboard ship footage from Assassin's 3? And I remember the day before, I was chatting with a couple of our colleagues, Tim Clark and Michael Gapper, at the pub, and I was saying, how wouldn't it be amazing if someone, and I was actually at the time thinking Rockstar, came out with an amazing open world pirate game. It's just something that no one's done before, but the possibility, the rich tapestry of history, environment, gameplay mechanics you could draw on could come together to form something incredible. So this may be finally is that
if they can, because what I saw was mostly a presentation, so they had all these brilliant ideas, but I've yet to see how they're gonna fit them together.
So what did you actually see in the presentation?
Well, I saw.
We can't show it all in this video.
Well, it was like a PowerPoint type presentation interspersed with video of various stuff happening. So I've yet to see the seamlessness they repeatedly talked about. But if they can deliver on that promise of making all this stuff one big whole, that'll be brilliant, But and the negative outcome is that it could be a lot of interesting ideas bolted together clumsily in a way it doesn't feel coherent.
Absolutely. So in terms of gameplay then, obviously the seamless nature and going from, well, particularly one thing, I really loved, because I really like my naval warfare, like a true historical maniac. I really enjoyed about Assassin's 3 was the naval warfare. It wasn't anywhere near deep enough for me, but it was still really fun. I enjoyed the apparently dynamic weather and the variation in cannon shot types and all that kind of stuff. Is it, correct me if I'm wrong, is Assassin's 4 Black Flag, is that going to take that to another level? Is it going to get more complex?
Well, the language they used was, they said that the naval battles in 3 were a teaser for what's to come in Black Flag.
Good news.
So, for ship fans and fans of naval combat, there's going to be a lot more. They weren't big on specifics, but they said stuff like there's going to be physics are going to be more important.
Oh, amazing.
So I'm not sure if this happened in 3, but they seem to suggest that if you were about to fire a volley of cannonballs at a ship, but then a rogue wave hit you, the wave would rock your ship over, and the shot would go missed the mark or whatever. So they seem to suggest that the weather systems, and I saw some really amazing footage of a storm that looked absolutely incredible. Like
brilliant.
the waves were really big and swirling and like ominous looking.
You want to feel like you're so vulnerable.
It looks like one of those classical naval paintings.
Yes.
Like that hang in old British stately homes. Like before, it looks kind of stylized and like. You've exaggerated.
Me, I need to get one of them for my living room. No, that is exciting. One thing that particularly annoyed me about the ship battles in 3 was being able to sail directly into the wind.
Yeah.
Because you can't do that. You've got to tack
yeah,
into the wind.
because he just when you did that in 3, like your dude would just shout, "No, he'd just scold you."
The wind. Yeah, exactly. But you'd still creep.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there's any more how rich the wind simulation is because
It's got to be playable.
It's not going to be.
You don't want it to get too bogged down.
It's not going to be like Total War. It's not that type because you're still controlling the ship with the stick.
Yes.
And so there's it has been video gamed a little bit, but one of the interesting things is that there'll be different types of enemy ship class, and they've described one called a charger, which apparently is like with a big heavy stern. No, bow.
Bow, yes.
The front.
Bow, yeah, the front bit.
Yeah, it's got a big heavy front bit.
Ramming
and they ram you, and the idea is that they're going to shatter your hull and sink you. So you've got to come up with a different strategy to deal with that, and that's the only one they mentioned. But they said that there'll be numerous, in their words, ship archetypes. So it won't just be circling a galleon that has the exact same behaviour as you.
Yeah. Okay. So what about the moving on from the potential ship mechanics to the assassinations, I suppose, because that's one thing that a lot of people have discussed about most of the recent titles.
Yeah, all this stuff we're talking about now sounds, like a great open world pirate game, but that doesn't sound much like Assassin's Creed,
exactly.
does it? Well, they tried to reassure us that, and as a kind of lapsing Assassin's Creed fan, who felt that the last game was so tortuously linear in places and so scripted, they said that they're returning to the open-ended mission design of the first two games. And the first two games were more open, but they weren't quite Hitman. They were still you were still funneled in a specific direction. But there was that great feeling of standing above a plaza and looking down and seeing your target milling around and having to decide how you take him out. Whereas comparatively in Assassin's 3, the majority of the assassinations were like scripted events. Like the first one's like scripted horse chase, scripted on foot chase, and like killing one of the main targets in 3 was like a cutscene. You don't even get to do it yourself. So they said that they've gone back to that idea of you pick your target, or not, rather your target's picked for you, but you pick how you approach. And as an Assassin's Creed fan who's been losing a little bit of love for the series, that's the most exciting thing for me. The idea of bringing back that Hitman style, element of, and we don't know how far they're going to push that. Like I'd love to see them push it to Dishonored levels of dynamic and interaction. That'd be really exciting.
It'd be good to be able to do a hit and not get spotted.
Yeah,
and to be able to get out silent.
And a lot of the Assassin's Creed assassinations, they try and get you to do it and in the open because it's part of the you send a message or whatever. But I don't know, like you should have the option, and I'd be interested to see if they can bring that kind of scope to the assassinations as well as to this massive open Caribbean they've got going on.
It's exciting. So going back to what you were talking about earlier, the the period. So we're early 1700s. We are sort of Pirates of the Caribbean. This is a time of privateers, of letters of marque, of horrors on the high seas,
and where the Caribbean was kind of fought over by the Spanish and like all other Assassin's Creed games, there's an element of fantasy where it's the Templars and the Assassins, but also a lot of it is informed by real history, and this is the same. So there will be historical figures in it, and pirates of the time included in it that they've mentioned so far are Edward Teach, also known as Blackbeard, who would put like
things in his beard,
things
like
in
sparklers,
his like TNT thingies to make his beard light up, make him look all furious, and so he's in it. Anne Bonny, who was like a famous Irish female pirate at the time.
Anne Bonny,
heard of her. Benjamin Hornigold as well, who was a big figure then. And part of the story revolves around Hornigold's attempts to... He wanted to create like a pirates' republic. He wanted to have a free nation governed by pirates, you know, like away from the prying eyes of the British or, you know, the European invaders.
More freedom fighting then.
Yeah, and it's going to be you with those guys versus the meddling English.
I don't want to kill any more redcoats. Poor redcoats.
And you know, that's pretty cool. And some of the other events they mentioned were. They mentioned the sinking of the Spanish Armada. I think I was looking on Wikipedia, and the Spanish Armada has been sunk like so many times. So it's obviously like, you know, one of the many sinkings.
Yeah, exactly. Poor old Spanish.
And there's a guy called Charles Vane who was a pirate as well, quite a famous pirate, who was famously marooned on a desert island. And the whole cliche of the desert island disc with the palm tree and the is from his story, and he was marooned on an island. So that's going to figure out the story. Maybe you'll be like trapped on the island with him, and you have to find a way off or whatever.
It's the thing, you know, as we were saying, it's such an unbelievably rich tapestry of history and imagination to draw from. You know, so many amazing characters, so much amazing stuff you can do with it.
Yeah,
but Ubisoft's got to be careful not to go over the top.
Yeah, and they're going to have to find a way to tie it into the overarching mythology of, you know, because every Assassin's Creed game is about essentially the apples of Eden, and but at the end of 3, and if you've not finished Assassin's 3, well, stop listening. But at the end of Assassin's 3, Desmond saved the world from you know, factor 8 million sunburn. No, he covered the world in that high factor sun cream.
That was it. Got later on.
I'm not quite sure what happened, but he basically saved the world, and from AC1 up until 3, the arc was the world's going to end. How do we stop it? And Desmond and his dad were trying to find clues in different time periods to find the MacGuffin to stop it, and so he did. But then, of course, a new threat emerged at the end of 3, where it was I've forgotten which one it was. One of the space holograms, Minerva.
Oh yeah, there was
Juno.
There was the bad space ghost.
The bad space ghost has been set free, and it was like a trick. So Desmond sacrificed himself to save the world. He's dead, or presumed dead, most likely dead. I think one of the Ubi guys said that he's definitely dead. But he said that he might return. So I think you're going to see him like inside the Animus and like digital flashbacks, like Subject 16 in Revelations.
Digital ghost Desmond.
Yeah, so there'll be a lot of alien ghosts and Desmond ghosts. So anyway, that thread of the arc is gone now. The Earth has been saved, but now whoever is inhabiting the brain of Edward Kenway has to now presumably stop Juno or Minerva, or whichever one it was, from enslaving humanity.
Of course. But actually, well, I mean, that brings on to quite nicely, like, who is driving the Animus in this game?
Well, this is the surprising thing. I think this is going to polarize quite a lot. I think people are going to be not like this. I personally think it's really clever, where most people didn't like Desmond. I think the sci-fi premise of Assassin's Creed has always been great. That idea of parallel time periods and looking to the past to help the future. But I think it was all ruined by having Desmond in the middle of it all, because he was really one-dimensional. No one not did as good a job as he could as a professional with that script, but I think he was I think he was a terrible character, and as the series grew on, he just became this like complacent, like
that was it.
Asshole.
I remember in Assassin's Creed 1, like playing and really enjoying the Desmond bits and trying to find out, use my Uber vision and stuff, trying to read into all the graffiti on the walls. But then as the game series progressed, all I wanted every time I was with Desmond was just get back in here. Just skip.
See, I kind of I am complaining about Desmond, but I am a big fan of the Assassin's mythology, and I love how it's absolutely ridiculous. But I love like reading on the Assassin's wiki about theories and stuff. So I always didn't mind the Desmond bits because I wanted to know more about the mythology, but I always resented being Desmond. So the way they've dealt with that is they haven't got another boring guy in a white hoodie. The new Desmond is you. You are literally Desmond, or rather, you're one of thousands of research analysts
Oh, I see.
hired by Abstergo Entertainment, they're now calling themselves.
Right.
I think maybe under the illusion that it's a kind of Total Recall, live the life of a swashbuckling pirate.
So we can expect a lot of metagame sort of promotional material flooding the internet over the next 6 months.
There's going to be some big AR thing, ARG. But so I don't know how they'll handle that. Maybe in cutscenes it will all be first person and you'll be talked to by characters and they'll be vague about your sex like they are in Skyrim or whatever. So that's kind of cool, that the idea of instead of introducing another character that they may or may not get right, they just go, right, you're
seems fairly tidy in principle.
Yeah, and
let's see how they'll carry it off.
Like, you're one of thousands of these test subjects. I think presumably the idea is that Abstergo, under the guise of this entertainment company, are trying to find something in the past, and you just happen to be the one who finds the right time period that has.
It'd be nice to see videos of all the ones we didn't find. Just like boring.
Yeah, they're like a miner in the 80s. or they're a supermarket clerk in 1974 Bracknell.
Oh, God. Imagine the possibilities.
Yeah.
Amazing.
But whoever you are, you've lucked out because you're a pirate with your own ship. So
if you're interested in that kind of thing, you'll have to watch Andy's truck simulator videos coming soon. Well, yeah. So going back to the high seas, then, I mean, what sort of additional mechanics are we likely to encounter? When you're sailing about.
Well, this is a thing that's potentially really exciting. That as you play the game, there's a full-on piracy simulation type deal going on where you can be out in the high seas and you can climb to the crow's nest, take out your spyglass, and if you spy a ship on the horizon, you can look at it and you'll get like a little thing telling you how many crew members are on board, how heavily armed it is, what kind of cargo they've got.
Yep.
I mean, obviously this is like a slight suspension of disbelief.
Sounds
video
like
game
Sid
fantasy
Meier's
thing.
Pirates. I like this.
Yeah.
Good.
And so you might see a big Spanish galleon and you go, well, that's full of gold and treasure, but you might go to your ship because Edward's got his own ship called the Jackdaw.
Yep.
And they said that they want you to feel a sense of ownership over it, so it's upgradable. You have to repair it, so after you sail into port and you've had a few battles, you have to repair it, so it makes you feel like you want to keep it ship shape. Nice. No pun intended.
Yeah, I like it.
So that idea of like seeing a ship in the horizon and going, well, I could probably take that, and then in real time going up, having a battle with it, and putting your grapples on it, pulling it towards you, climbing aboard, looting it, and then taking the plunder to the next port, selling it, and you can use that to upgrade your ship. So there's an economy going on. Yeah. And if you can, one thing I'd really like is that if you could just play the game like trading.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you could,
like privateer.
Yeah, like smuggling.
Yeah, exactly. Potential is amazing. I mean, that's the kind of thing, if they get that right, that could just be, tens and tens of hours just enjoying sort of, being
delivering
in that
sugar to Jamaica or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'd love that. But, we'll have to see how rich that stuff is, because really the real challenge for the 8 studios working on it.
8 studios?
8 Ubisoft studios, led by Montreal, who did 3. And also did Far Cry, so that's I think there's a Far Cry influence leaking in there. The real challenge for them will be taking all this brilliant stuff and fusing it together and it not feeling hodgepodge and piecemeal. So, they're turning this game around in a year. I would like to see them spend 2 years on a game like this, or 3 years, but
it sounds really ambitious, but it's
a necessary evil.
Such a great idea.
Yeah. Well, Assassin's is a yearly franchise now, so there's nothing we can do about that. So we can only hope that this turns out as promising as all the ideas I've seen so far have been. So
to finish up then, Andy, we're expecting to see this on PS3, Xbox 360, PC,
and PS4.
Next gen.
Yeah, they have confirmed to me in an interview that PS4 they said it's going to look awesome. You probably have guessed that, and they said it's going to use the touchpad. You could have guessed that as well, but it's nice to hear it from the developers. So
one can only suppose that all developers now have some requirement they need to fulfill.
And the footage I saw in my presentation looked incredible. It looked absolutely incredible. But I bet that was running on like a mega PC. So I think I'm sort of thinking maybe I should wait for the PS4 version if it lives up to that footage.
Exactly. It's all going to be timing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks very much for your time, Addy. If you want to know more about Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, then please subscribe to the channel, because we will bring you more news, features, and analysis as and when we get it. And please comment in the comment section below. Let us know what you think and what you hope to see from the game, what you hope you won't see in the game. And like us. That'd be great. Thanks.